In this week's video, I want to revisit a topic I recorded, I think about 5 years ago is probably when I did it the first time. But it keeps coming up over and over again with the people that I talk to, the entrepreneurs I'm talking to, the accounting firms that I'm working with in the Accountant Success Formula coaching program. And so I thought, what the hell, let's bring it up again here in this weekly video. So what is this? And it's the bane of almost every person's existence. I'm going to call it the 3 keys to task delegation. Okay? Now, what am I talking about task delegation? This can be used for a multitude of applications, okay? So there is getting information from your clients. There is delegating tasks to your clients. Please get me this piece of information so I can finish your tax return. All of us have seen the pain and suffering that we experience when we're chasing people for information to try and complete the job. Number 2 is you with your team members and saying, like, here, this is what I need you to do, get her done. Pain in the butt because you're like, did they get it done? Did they get it done on time? Do they understand the importance of it? No one seems to understand that. And also, finally, I'm just going to throw this in here, your kids or your friends. You can use this on anybody and anything, and it's fair. And the wonderful thing about this is about clarity of communication. You get really crystal clear about what's important and why. They understand what's important and why, and you all have an understanding on how everything's going to flow through. So it's really simple. Okay, so it's a 3-step formula. One is, here's the details. So in other words, very clear conversation, communication on the details of what needs to happen. Now, most people are okay with this. Most people get this done. This part, they don't mess this up too much. In other words, so you give someone a file and you say, please have this file done for me by Friday. Or with shall we call it a client, please get me the bank statements for this bank account, for this company. That's what they ask for. Sorry, just the details. I threw in an extra part of there. So the details, clearly understanding, get me this information. Do you understand? Yes, okay, I know to get you that information. Most people just go there, but that's it. Second phase, which I actually kind of let slip there, is the due date. Okay, due date. So in other words, like I said there, please get me the bank information by Friday. So get me that information by Friday. Okay, great. If some people get to that, perfect. But they don't go beyond that. And this is where the magic happens. This is where and it's so simple, but nobody does it. Well, most of us don't. So it's number 3. Here it is. I call it the consequences, right, of not doing this. Okay? Like the consequences of not doing this or doing it. So it's positive or negative. So don't think about it as a negative consequence. So for example, Mr. Jones, get me your bank information from company 114530, BC Limited or California Limited or whatever the number is, by Friday at noon. If you don't get it to me by Friday at noon, I will not be able to file your tax return on time, and you will be subject to penalties and interest of X amount of dollars. End of stop. Done. All of a sudden, the person clearly understands what they need to do, when the due date is, and what the consequences are of not completing that task. Okay? Now, I said it can be positive or negative, right? So in this case, I told the client, if you don't get this to me, get this detail to me, the bank information by this due date, you're going to get pooched by the IRS or the CRA. They're going to come in, they're going to hit you with all these penalties and interest. It's going to be bad. The other thing you can also do with this is inside your firm, and when we get into busy tax season, you're all going to understand this. You're waiting for clients to get information. You're telling them, get it to me, get it to me, get it to me. Tell them, here's the due date. If you don't get me this piece of information by Friday, I will not be able to file your return on time, even if you have 2 or 3 weeks out for the rest of tax season, because you go, I've got a lineup of clients and I've got a timing of all this going to be done. It's the same as the previous one, but you're basically giving yourself a buffer to say, if you don't get it me by that time, no guarantees it's not going to get done. Another level is, it doesn't get me by this time, like the following date, it definitely won't get filed on time. So on a positive note, you get me this piece of information, let's call it the bank statement. So we're going through an M&A transaction, trying to sell a business for one of our clients in one of the businesses I own. And we're like, get us this set of financial statements by Tuesday at 2 o'clock. If you get it to me by 2 o'clock, I'll be able to get that information into the bank. We'll get the financing. You're going to get the house. You're going to get your business sold. You're going to get your check for $4 million. He is now motivated, clearly understands the details, clearly understands the due date, clearly understands the consequences, pro and con. It can be good for them or bad for them, right? So, and on both sides. And so having that clear understanding of these three things, just details, due date, consequences in your mind, you get it very clear with the person. They know what to do, when to do it by, and what the implications are if they do or do not do such things on a task. So again, simple kind of concept, but it went over huge when I did it. Like I said, when I did this video about 5 years-ish ago, I think it was, and it just keeps coming up over and over again. Everybody's getting so frustrated because people aren't doing their jobs. People aren't doing what we're asking of them. And I think it's because we need to be much clearer in our communications, that there's the details of what needs to be done, the due date, and here's the consequences, here's the implications of you doing or not doing the thing I just asked you to do. So there you go. That's it for this week. I'm Eric Solbakken, reminding you that when you take back control of your business model, you take back control of your life. Stay tuned for more success tips to come.